Welcome everyone to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement. We give our thoughts, we give our opinions on a TV show, movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a TV show, and that TV show is Xmen 97, here to discuss, as always, the triple threat Chris Trio. Spider blood.
That's...
Radioactive spider blood.
We'll get back to radioactive spider blood.
I didn't do that for no reason.
For no reason at all. Gooch, how we doing today, man? I know we just recorded a big, nice Xbox podcast, which you can probably watch right now. I assume that's. Or is this going to be up for us, or is Xbox?
Yeah, that's a decision we have to make.
We'll make that post episode, but if not, definitely check out that one because it was a lot of fun. But how you doing otherwise, Gooch?
I'm doing very, very, very well, Trio. I'm not doing great because I didn't watch Xmen 97. I took the L on this one because I'm like, I'm a man of...
You're about to hear a Goochism.
I'm one of these guys. Yeah, I'm one of these guys. This is a Goochism. I want to eventually get around to watching that original X-Men cartoon, so I didn't want to go into Xmen 97 having this possibly half-cocked experience, which I heard... isn't the case because you can't jump into X-Men 97 without watching the original stuff. But I am one of those people, like I just said, so I chose to not watch. And but Tria, you did, so you're going to be taking the initiative here. X-Men 97. Tell me a little bit about it. I don't know a lot, really.
Gooch, this is the best piece of Marvel content that has been created in a long time. I'm going to just start there.
You sound like me.
It's truly... No, so listen, I think, again, there is an innate advantage to animation, in my opinion, in certain respects.
Yeah, we've seen it with Star Wars.
We talked about this before, and we talked about this on Tales of the Jedi last in more depth.
Empire.
But, thank you, Tales of the Empire. It just leans itself to so much more emotion just through action even. And the animation in this show, Gooch... is genuinely some of the best animation I can ever remember.
It looks cool.
Like
it's
going
very different.
from
like
Invincible to this is like it's like a plain bagel going to like an everything pizza. I don't know. Like it's
like an everything bagel from New York with like a pound
with everything
of cream
like
cheese. Yeah.
There were so many times I was grinning on my face from ear to ear watching the show. Just when it comes to the action scenes, when it comes to even Cyclops specifically, you've probably seen the clip of his superhero landing. Yeah, I mean it's top tier. I have never.
I've been trying to stay away from it.
I think that's good. You definitely should. But it just brought this like I hate to sound corny, but childlike wonder back to me, where I was like giggling like a little schoolgirl at some of these action scenes, especially. But it's a really fantastic show. They pick up right after where the last one ended. I kind of did look up like a brief synopsis of where I think years, I don't know if a year or two has passed or not. I can't remember, but it picks up. Professor X is gone.
Yeah, I know about that.
Mutant human relations are really not good because he was just almost assassinated by like an anti-mutant I think it was Trask who tries to assassinate him. I can't remember, but they, as far as the public is aware, Xavier's dead. And even the X-Men kind of think he's fucked because he was left comatose and then he was taken by, I can't remember the name of the alien species he's with, the Shi'ar, yes. Yeah. And we kind of come back to him later. But we pick up and it's Scott leading the team, Cyclops. Man, he fucking gets his due in this. It's so I don't know what awesome. You don't really like Cyclops never pops into my mind as like a character where I'm like, man, he's badass and cool and I think he kind of gets cocked, for lack of a better term, in the X-Men movies, especially.
James Marsden does get cocked.
Like I don't think they do him a lot of justice, but man, there's one fight scene in this, and it's after that where he's optic blasting people, dodging out of the way, pushing himself out of the way with the optic blast, flipping over. It's some of the coolest uses of powers that I have ever seen, and I think the animation style itself really leans to that. I've talked about this in the Discord.
It's very unique.
It's 2D, 3D, so it's like
and shell shaded.
Yes, but like it's in some scenes you don't even realize it. Like it looks like 2D animation, but then it will cut to like a close up or something, and there's like depth within them, and you see it a lot more. But like I didn't even realize it until like the third episode that it was, 3D in that way. But it's very unique. It's almost like they took what they did for their What If series, that style, and refined it more, and then added like a layer of the old style of
like from a surface level glance, it is definitely different from What If for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like I've bitched about What If a lot.
They do have a weird kind of animation style, and I think this, just perfects it.
Do you know if it's the same team, like animation team from Marvel working on 97?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I would assume they're similar people.
I'd be curious also from like the writer's perspective, like, what people they got on this. Are there people who were on that original series? I know a lot of the voice actors came back. I'm not sure if all
not
of them
all
did.
of them did. I know like, who plays Gambit isn't the old
like
one.
I'm sure some of them may have died. Like,
right.
Not to be morbid,
no, definitely.
but it's been a while.
Dude, they had they were talking in interviews, they had to re-audition some of them because they were just like, they want to, your voice changes. They need to make sure you still sound the same.
Yeah, I know like Jennifer Hale is Jean Grey again.
Right. And she sounds great. All the voice acting is spot on. To me, my X-Men. They keep saying my X-Men. Oh, sorry.
You're blinding me.
My apologies. They say Professor X especially is like, my X-Men. It's just I do love it.
Come to me, my X-Men.
That assemble, especially with Scott, so good. But there are some really interesting plot lines. They really dive heavily into the Madeline Pryor stuff. Are you familiar with that at all with Cable?
Madeline Pryor.
So
I know her name, not really.
So there was a comic. It's funny. They did a lot of comic book stories in this show. I didn't realize they did Days of Future Past. They did the Apocalypse storyline.
Well, dude, Jean Grey's ass.
And they did. Jean Grey's ass. It's Rogue's. It's Rogue's ass.
Yeah, Rogue's ass in that shot.
They've covered a lot already, so I was kind of curious as to what they were going. And I guess Cable was involved in the show before this. Okay. And they never really they might have, but I don't know if they really addressed the parental thing very heavily. But
Madeline Pryor isn't his kid, is it?
No, he is the child of Madeline Pryor and Scott. So
right.
It's funny. There's one episode that I feel like you almost could have stretched out into like a whole arc for this season, and you find out that Jean has been replaced with Madeline Pryor by Mr. Sinister. And she gives birth to Nathan, who gets infected with a techno-organic virus by Mr. Sinister. They then have to send him to the future with what's his name? What's the guy with the M on his Bishop. They send him to the future with Bishop because they're hoping they have something that can fix him. And he ends up coming back to try and stop his mom. Is the techno-organic
virus alien?
No, it's something that Mr. Sinister made. And actually, it ends up being...
Is Mr. Sinister in the show?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And he shows up. Dude, he's great, too. He looks perfect, and his voice is awesome. But you end up finding out that this techno-organic virus he was working on was being created to basically create techno-organic sentinels and to turn humans into basically...
Weapons
and biological... basically forced evolution for humans. And, the whole idea is this guy, Bishop...
And, to have, a defense force against mutants.
And to take them out. Because the idea is he's like... It's funny, because there's obviously a great deal of parallels, and this is supposed to be, a stand-in for, acceptance and racism and different things and accepting people and all that stuff, and it really is great, and I think that works as an analog for that in such a cool way. But there are parts where I'm like, this doesn't work very well. So Scott and Jean go to a hospital, and the doctors, because she's having, this is Madeline at this point, we don't know, she's pregnant and she's having a child, and the doctor's like, I can't deliver a mutant baby, and he's like, you won't deliver our baby? I'd be like, dude, you shoot optical blasts out of your eyes and you didn't know that. I'm not delivering your baby that can kill me. Can we get some maybe mutant doctors to do that? I just don't think it's different if I walked in there, if a black person walks in and goes, can you deliver my baby? I can't deliver this person. They're a different color than me. That's fucking insane. But if you go in and you want me to deliver Scott Summers' baby,
it is a bit different. Yeah.
It's just a little bit different.
Possibly dangerous.
Yeah, that baby can kill you. So
and it's okay, well, you don't want the mom to die or anyone else in the room. I do.
I think it works most of the time, but that's one of those points where I'm like, that doesn't. I'm with the doctor there.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
Does that make sense?
Concern for the well-being of himself, the mother
and the nurses else. And everything,
and the baby
the baby. So God, I mean,
get me the mutant doctor.
You have two of the most powerful mutants on Earth, giving birth to a baby, I'd be a little afraid. But otherwise, I think, the messaging works really well in this. And I think it is a timeless thing of just like, God, can't we all just get along, for God's sakes, to a degree? But, it's of course more to it than that. And then it becomes this thing of like, who is right? And you get into this big moral gray area. I think Magneto in this is fantastic.
I hate his look.
It's hilarious.
He looks so dumb.
So he looks hilarious in his little like 3/4 sleeves that like gloves
and
that
his
go
hair?
up. And I love the long hair.
I
think
don't
it's
like it at
great.
all.
He looks so good when he's in the full Magneto getup. But
I think he looks from like the
he kind of looks
screenshots I've
hilarious
seen.
in that first.
I'm like, you look really odd compared to everyone else. You look like you're really out of like you're the juxtaposition compared to everyone else.
But yeah, they handle the cable. The cable storyline is a major plot point in this because you find out Jean was swapped out at a certain point with Madeline, and then she can't remember when that is because she has all of Madeline's memories, but Madeline also has all of her memories. So they don't really know where Madeline ended and Jean began, which was again interesting. I think and they kind of tie, at least explain that in a whole episode. And I was like, you probably could have drug that out a little.
It seems like a pretty major revelation.
And then Jean's back, and they move on to that, and that there's like this kind of.
Did they do the Dark Phoenix already?
Yes, that's already done. They talk about that and stuff within this. There's a lot of stuff.
I really don't know what that show covers.
No, I don't either.
It's funny. I think until X-Men 97, other than people being like the theme, like nobody really talked about like the storylines that they did in that. Like I feel like when we refer to X-Men, we just talk about the movies, not about that series in terms of narrative.
No, and it's funny because it was an incredibly popular show, of course, but it was definitely before our time specifically too.
Yeah. But same with like that Spider-Man show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he does show up in this.
I know.
But there's did you see the last? So there's like a final.
No, I just know that he does.
There's a 1 point Magneto.
Isn't the Fantastic Four in it too?
I don't think I saw them. You see, so the one cool thing with Morph in this. I don't know. So he's usually, I can't remember his other name. That's like a newer name for him. But he used to be something else. I can't remember. But like he'll use other people's powers. So like he'll morph into the Hulk. He morphs into the Hulk at one point, and then he morphs into like Juggernaut, and it is a cool kind of excuse to get these randoms in. But then Captain America shows up.
Changeling,
that was it.
Yeah.
Captain America shows
DC
up at one point.
Beast Boy.
Beast Boy. Yeah, Captain America shows up at one point. You see Captain America and Iron Man like protecting the president at the end.
I hate the way Morph looks in the original series. He looks like such a weirdo.
Yeah, he does look like a weirdo.
He looks like
Morph. But it was cool to see that kind of greater universe for sure. And otherwise, I just were you gonna ask him?
No, sorry, I was just
no, you're good.
I did have a thought, but keep going.
It's cool to see that wider breadth of the universe, and it's cool how they use Morph in that way for sure.
I am scared. Screen Crush loves making theory videos on stuff that just like doesn't have a right to be a theory, and I'm just like, I don't think the X-Men 97 is going to be in the MCU. Can we not do that?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm like, can we like
no.
Like I don't like how there is a big, I feel like, theory community out there that wants everything Marvel to be connected back to the MCU, and I feel like that just at this point will degrade the MCU.
You just don't need that.
It is so multiverse full that I think it just can't handle any more of this shit.
I agree.
Like, it's gonna. I was thinking about this weekend. I was like, maybe we should have like a Deadpool theory video on like what we think Deadpool Wolverine is going to be, because it is going to change everything.
That might actually be a fun one.
And there were theories of like, is X-Men 97 stuff going to show up in Deadpool Wolverine?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Is the Wolverine that's in Deadpool and Wolverine the Wolverine from X-Men 97? I'm like, I'm like, ugh.
I could easily see, and I think it would work. I think you could see 97 people pop up in like that respect of. It's a cameo in Deadpool, but I don't think you like make them then the mainline universe.
Right.
You know what
Not
I mean?
that
I'm willing to
do
accept that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Beast at the end of Captain Marvel is like that's like the 97 Beast, basically. I mean, the way he's like got the lab coat on and everything.
And that's you could easily co-opt like Kelsey Grammer into being that Beast.
That
if
was,
you wanted to.
Still hilarious. They brought him back, but and there's other like weird things with the storylines like that I did have to go back and look up, and I actually had forgotten. Mr. Sunday Movies did a whole video.
Yeah, this is why I want to watch it, because like again, I'm like I'm not like it with everything. Like one thing that I didn't do that with is like I didn't play Mass Effect 1. I just played 2 and 3. But like sometimes like now it's like and I will get to this probably a year from now. Like
I didn't want to miss the scene. That's why I was like, we have to.
Any spoilers you talk about, I probably will forget.
Right.
Yeah, and it'll be fine.
And I don't think it's anything major like that. I'm like confused story plot wise on. It's more stuff like, why does Rogue have like Captain Marvel powers?
She always has.
Not usually.
Wait.
So
isn't there an episode where she absorbs?
So
Captain
that's
Marvel's
what happened.
powers?
So that's the thing.
Yeah,
that was the funny thing. I had totally forgotten this. Mr. Sunday Movies did a video.
I know
on
about
it.
that.
And it's a weird episode looking back because like she takes all she holds her too long and like permanently absorbs her and puts her into a coma. And then she's trying to take over her body again, and they they put her in this like mind concrete jail inside Rogue's mind. It's very sad. And then
Carol.
even in that whole storyline from the comic book that they aped that off of is even weirder because she has
I know it's a weird.
She
one.
has a child, then the child marries her and takes her to like another dimension, and all the Avengers are like, "That's fine. See ya, Captain Marvel." Like
she's binary too.
Yes,
in that, right?
dude. It's a very if you ever are interested, it's a fun video. What's the one that I watch? There's a great comic book channel. I'll talk about it at a different time.
Comic historian?
No, it's it's not worth looking up right now. It's just this guy Chris. He does really good like kind of retrospectives on like certain things. He did a great story on that. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Because it's so funny, Gooch. Rogue's powers were always really confusing to me. I was like,
they seem very everything she's been in. They portray her character or powers as being very
like vague,
bad.
Yeah,
like she can't touch anyone. Like like in the movies with
and that is normal.
Iceman.
Yeah, that is part of her powers for sure. It's just more like I was like, oh, she's taking their powers, so she absorbs powers and memories, which is interesting from whoever she touches. And then there is this kind of whole storyline throughout this.
I also
season.
want to watch Evolution, by the way.
What was
the 2000 series?
Oh yeah, there's so many good scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's an interesting storyline there with like apparently her and Magneto had like a thing at one point because his magnetic powers, she can touch him and she can't, like he's one of the only people she can touch.
My trauma is too much for you.
But then exactly. But then Gambit kind of has this whole thing with
I
her
heard
too, and
something happens with him, I think.
he dies.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He sacrificed himself, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a great moment, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But there is some like weird messaging in the way of like
A little woke?
somewhat, but not like in the way of like the
Where's the Israel-Palestine stuff?
because listen, like I said, like this was always an analogy for like acceptance and like trying to. So like I completely understand that, but don't begrudge that at all. But there is this like weird kind of tone of like the mutants in this are like, we've tried to get you to tolerate us, but fuck you guys. You guys.
They do Hellfire Club, right?
I think so in the old one, but like
no. In this one,
Hellfire Club.
Don't they? Is Magneto like good?
No, he's bad. Like so, he's trying to start Genosha, which they did,
Oh.
and it has finally. There's this whole thing at the UN where they're deciding whether or not
fancy things. Yeah,
they're deciding whether or not to execute or like imprison Magneto. So he's been being put on for crimes
So he got
against.
captured in the original series.
So he
or
didn't.
something.
He actually. So Professor X left everything to him, and he becomes the leader of the X-Men at the beginning of this. I should have said that. And he's and since he's dead, he's like, I'm gonna try it Xavier's way. We'll see what we can do here. I'm gonna try to be accepting and
Does
try
he lead
to
the
make
X-Men and the school?
So he leads the X-Men in the school for the moment, and then the UN wants him to come in to face war crime charges. So he does, and he shows up, and then there's this terrorist attack by anti-mutant people, and he ends up saving the entire like UN. But you think he's gonna kill them because they end up depowering a storm, and he starts to lose it. And he lifts up the entire like Senate, and they're all floating up towards the sun, and you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna kill them all. And then he gives this speech, and he's like, I'm trying something different this time, and we'll go for peace. I'm not gonna do anything, but know that like this is how far we are. And so he tries, and then that gets Genosha officially recognized as a UN state, and like you go to Genosha and you see it, and then there's this gigantic attack by the Sentinels, like out of nowhere, wipes it all out. Huge terrorist attack. And then Magneto is thought to be dead during that. He ends up being alive because he's captured by Bastion, who's like the main bad guy. He is someone from the future that was given the finished techno-organic virus that turned him into basically the first technopath. and he can control all the human Sentinel hybrids that are then taking over the world. And he has Magneto strapped up, but then one of the humans lets him go, and he gets out, and he's understandably pissed, and he EMPs the entire Earth. So there's no fucking
the Earth
thing.
in the modern day.
No, it's 97 still.
Whoa.
In the modern, the contemporary time of that. Of this thing.
The time of not the future of the show.
So he then just basically declares war.
It seems pretty deep. It seems like there's a lot of storylines going on.
There are,
it's
man.
not just like especially with like some of the Marvel shows are like through line, 6 episode arcs that really aren't that deep plot wise. How many episodes was this?
10, I want to say.
Okay,
and it was good. It was. And good.
I know they dropped them week by week.
Yeah.
Which.
And I didn't. There was one episode with Jubilee that felt a little fillery, but otherwise,
is Dazzler in it?
Dazzler's not in it. Wow. I think you might see her in the background somewhere. There is a part with with that Captain American Rogue where he's like investigating something while she is after the big attack, and she's like, I know where this guy is. Come on, let's go together. He's like, I gotta wait for the go ahead from Washington. My hands are tied. And she's like, oh, if your hands are tied, you won't be needing this. And she just throws his shield like a million miles into the forest. I'm like, that was kind of a jerk move, but it's okay. And there is this thing of like, the tolerance thing is a big part of this, as it is for every X-Men thing. I didn't realize how like it was still kind of in the state in this universe where they still are really clashing heavily like that.
The government and mutants,
or just humans and mutants in general.
Yeah, sure.
And it is, again, it's...
Because it's a plot in the X-Men movies, but I feel like it's a bit of a secondary one.
For sure.
It's never really the main focus.
Right.
It's usually like, oh, yeah, well, Magneto knows they're different, and he's just going to kill people.
Well, and there is this interesting idea of, like, humans are going extinct and stuff like that. In the way of, like, more mutants are being born every day. It's the next step of evolution. So it's interesting in that respect. There is also another thing where I don't think it holds up in the way of, like...
So wait, Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America's in. Iron Man shows up for a second too. You see Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Is it the Iron Man animated one?
Yes, it looks very much like the classic.
Iron Man.
It might be that. It looks like that old style, like definitely suit. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Peter is 90s Peter Parker. Like you see him fighting.
Is the same voice actor?
He doesn't speak. So you see him fighting.
What the fuck?
At one point, but then there's another point where like. Everyone's watching around the world as shit is going on, and it just shows like him and Mary Jane like sitting. They're standing next to each other, just kind of watching the shit go down. And you see Daredevil, and you see a
Yellow
bunch
suit.
of no, he's in red. You get a bunch of different kind of in that moment where like shit's happening all around the world, and the power has been restored after Xavier came back, so he came back from who were they called again? This shot.
God,
I can't remember.
I just said it.
Yeah, you did. But he comes back from that alien race because he thought the Shi'ar
Empire.
He's getting ready to marry the queen there because they like love each other.
Xavier? Yeah,
but they have this whole they have this whole like thing where he's like they're like, all right, well you have to then disband your memories for Earth. Like you have to get rid of your memories and commit fully to. Well. They do have this other kind of interesting conversation of the Shi'ar and like how they expanded and like the idea with their species is that they absorb and replace instead of like trying to, take other people's cultures on. They're just like, you're one of us. We'll make you part of the empire, but you have to forget everything about your culture. You are now Shi'ar or whatever. Yeah. Which is interesting.
So what does the show end on?
Apocalypse.
Again?
So the way that they're doing it, it seems interesting. So I can't remember exactly why they all time traveled, but at the end, Magneto and Charles are kind of stuck in this mind prison where they're like, he's trying to help Eric rebuild his mind after he had to like basically force him to undo the EMP he did because he wouldn't do it. And he had to get like, he got his helmet off and he got inside his mind and it like broke his mind. So they're kind of having this little mind palace meeting and he's rebuilding him. What? No, it's just Magneto and Xavier this one because Magneto at this point
does the EMP.
Yes, because he kind of becomes a secondary villain again in the way of like he's like fuck all of you guys. I tried, and guess what? You just killed a bunch of my people. It's over. I declare war, and he causes an EMP and like makes this like mutant island, and he's ready to just let all the humans die, and anyone who's helping.
Welcome to Mutant Island.
Exactly, and that ends up being resolved, and then they end up flying, like, stopping the meteor before it hits Earth and destroys everything, because they stop Bastion, they cut off his link from all the Sentinels, and he's like, well, fuck you guys. I'm just destroying the Earth now then, because I'm not going to, which is interesting. But
fuck this place.
They stop him. They kind of try to, like, you know, do the good thing and be like, can we say, like, listen, we know you were lied, because he was lied to apparently by his mom about Xavier not coming to help him when he was younger, when he was first getting his, like, technopath abilities. And I'm trying to remember exactly how it ends with him. I think he dies. But then, yeah, everyone, I don't know exactly why, gets kind of scattered throughout history. So Jean and...
I'm surprised this show is going in those directions.
I know, it's interesting.
With all the multiverse stuff going on and time travel, you think like they would.
I think time travel, you're a little safer. It's not necessarily multiverse. You know what I mean? But I do agree with you.
It's definitely one hop, skip, and a jump away.
Right. But yeah, so Scott and Jean are stranded in the future. And then Magneto.
Like Samurai Jack.
Yeah, Magneto, Xavier, and a few of the other X-Men, and like basically most of the main team is then in the back, and it was sent back to like ancient Egypt times, and they save this
with Apocalypse.
So they save this guy from being like absconded by a bunch of people, and he has like a thing over his face up to his like eyes, and then he pulls his mouth down, and you see he has like the classic Apocalypse.
That's cool
smile.
that they're doing the origin.
Yeah, because I mean, I know he's apparently trapped in the astral plane at this point from like the last time we see him, like when
Apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that happened. That's what they said.
The first mutants.
But dude, Gooch, this is a fantastic fucking show. It's really amazing. I cannot stress that enough.
What do you want to see from a season 2?
I don't know. I really don't know, because I don't know what to expect from this. I mean, they're going to follow up on all the stuff. Yeah. They're going to follow up on all this stuff. I don't know what I necessarily want to see. Honestly, I really don't. I just want to see more of this. I want to see them continue on with this same writing team. And I want to see where they go, because it's really fantastic. And I don't want that quality to dip when it comes to the animation, because that really was like, dude, it's spectacular. It's eye-catching. It's amazing. I love it. I really do. I can't stress that enough. But yeah, man, I think that's where I'm at.
Cool.
You should watch it. I know I probably just went on a few different diatribes, maybe not a lot of sense. But
there's
a lot going on.
I think it made sense, but I think it's cool that there is a lot going on, and they managed to kind of keep it interesting and of quality. Because I don't know. I just think from like a surface level point, it's just like when I would think of like an X-Men show, a continuation of that show, you feel like you would kind of want to get back to basics a little bit. Especially with what the MCU is doing and everything Marvel's doing. It's so multiverse saturated now.
I agree.
So you think you'd want something different, but
I didn't know what I was going to expect from this Gooch, to be honest, but I was just massively blown away. Yeah. Truly. Like, and I can't recommend it enough to watch for sure. And it deserves absolutely all the praise it's getting at the moment. So go see it.
Or watch it.
Or watch it. Yeah. Anything else, Gooch? Any other questions you have for me or anything like that?
Really, I think you said enough without getting in the weeds more.
Fantastic, yeah. Again, that's something we could dive into more if we both were watching, but I think we kind of covered the main shit. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. You can find this podcast, anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on all your favorite platforms. We're on all your favorite social media pages as well. Everywhere with an @ we are at Delco Nerds. Other than that, we got a Facebook page, Discord channel, all of which shall be linked down below our link tree as well. You can find all of our pertinent links in that link. Other than that, you can email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. And even check out all this information will be located on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time. This is just Wakanda now.